Hey, Michael and Middleton here. A bit on the casual side today, but it's really hot here in Western Washington, and it's either like this outside or inside about a 300 square foot tiny house with no AC. So I'm outside today. For those of you who are new to this series, I am reading my allegorical fiction novel, The Great Deep, and I will pause just a moment here and let you, or you can pause to be more precise, on the back cover and get a glimpse of it if you haven't seen any of these previous videos. Follow the link to the Good Books playlist on my YouTube channel to see the previous chapters. There will be links in the description, but all proceeds from all of my books, I believe I have 20 published titles at this time, benefit Youth with a Mission Faith Harvest Helpers. There'll be informational links about that, so I like to say get a good read and do a good deed. We're on chapter 20 of The Great Deep of 25 chapters, plus a real brief supplemental section that I'll just pick a couple of little tidbits out of when we get to it. So, chapter 20. A joyless bike ride home followed William's exit from the cave. He spent most of the remainder of the day in his room before settling into a restless sleep that night. Anger, fear, and grief all vied for his soul as he slept. At one point he found himself suddenly wide awake, his tear-streaked face bathed in the silvery white glow of a full moon. It reminded him of the brilliant sheen that emanated from the pool of truth, and he felt, for a moment, unsure of where he was. But then the memories of the day returned to trouble his young mind once again. A fiery grief rose up within him. Its weight rested heavy upon his heart, and he found himself sobbing in shallow staccato gasps. After a time he fell asleep once more, only to awaken again a short time later. Most of the night passed in this manner. After several failed attempts at sleeping through the remainder of the night, he finally abandoned the effort as the first faint traces of dawn crept over the far horizon. Sleepily, he got dressed and then made his way through the house and out to the back porch. Slipping on his boots, he paced across the back lawn to a bench which sat facing the dawn. Many troubling thoughts and questions plagued his young mind, obscuring the appreciation of the beauty before him. Bathed in the first light of a new day, he prayed for his friend Enid and the rest of the Ankara. After completing his chores and making an attempt at eating breakfast, William let his parents know that he was heading back out to the cave. Several times he answered, "I'm fine," or "just a little sleepy," to their concerned inquiries. "You seem kinda down," his grandmother observed. "Are you feeling okay, boy?" she asked. "I'm fine," he said one last time, as he strapped on his backpack and mounted his bike. I might be a little late for lunch, I don't know." "Well, I'm making a pot of turkey noodle soup," Mary replied as he pedaled across the yard. "I'll leave what's left sitting out on the stove for you. Just help yourself when you get back." Half of William wanted to get out to the cave as quickly as he could. The other half, however, feared what he might find and wanted to take its time. More than once, fear gained the upper hand, and he almost turned back. However, compassion and courage won out in the end, and William was soon making his way through the underground world on his way to the Ankara village. An uncharacteristic silence filled the air as he caught his first distant glimpse of the village. This strange quiet disturbed him, but he continued on nonetheless. As he entered the village, he observed a great throng of Ankara surrounding the pool of truth, some distance from its edge. William watched from a distance as the mass of small gray creatures parted, and a solitary figure made his way through the assembly to the water's edge. As the creature painfully bent to drink, William concluded that it must be Enid. "He's all right," he thought. "He made it." Joy and relief blazed anew within William as the revitalized creature stood, looking back in his direction. Though the distance was too great to clearly see such a small being, something in his stature told William that it was indeed his friend. A warm greeting was cut short by the concerned and somber tones of Enid's voice as he approached. "William, it is good to see you. However, I am grieved that it is under such dire circumstances that we meet again." "What is it?" William asked. What's Marshock up to? What did you hear?" Sador stepped forward. "I am afraid," he began, "that many of your race are in grave danger. A danger that they can neither foresee nor prevent." William's eyes grew wide. Again turning to Enid, he pointedly asked, "What is it? What did you hear?" "The Dark Ones," Enid began, "have stolen a great number of soundstones and firestones, not just from our village, but from others as well." "And?" William pressed. Enid continued, "I overheard them speaking of using the stones to destroy the structures that your race has built in order to restrain the mighty rivers." "Blow up dams?" William asked incredulously. "With little rocks? I don't get it. There's a lot of dams around here, but what can little rocks do to a great big dam?" "You forget the nature of these particular stones," Sador interrupted. "The sound stones greatly amplify any vibration. Dams generate a lot of vibration, young lord." Enid spoke again. "From what I overheard of the Dark One's conversation, they plan on placing numerous sound stones within channels they have excavated underneath and around the dams. The normal vibrations of the falling water would then be amplified many thousands of times in a chain reaction, causing a catastrophic failure of the dam, and great loss of life from the resulting deluge. And the firestones," Sador added, "if placed strategically, would generate a great deal of heat, rapidly accelerating the process." The plausibility of this concept gradually became real to William. A cold chill shot up his spine as he asked, "Which one? Where are they planning on doing this? I mean, there's a lot of dams around here. Horseshoe Dam, Bartlett Dam, Mormon Flat, Hoover. Where are they planning on doing this?" "That I do not know," answered Enid. "You don't know," William snipped. "You've got to know. Thousands and thousands of people could die. We've got to do something." Staring him square in the eye, Enid flatly replied, "I do not know, William." There was a tense and desperate silence until Sador spoke again. "William, we have sent out additional scouts to try and locate where the Dark Ones are hiding as they prepare to strike. Perhaps when they return, we will know more. But," he trailed off. "But what?" asked William, noting the hesitancy in Sador's voice. "You are going to stop them, aren't you?" Sador, with a note of sorrowful resignation in his voice, replied, "Yes, young lord, stop them we must. But the means by which we may, this is troublesome to me. It is not within our nature to cause harm, and yet, if we remain true to this instinct, even to the point of allowing the Dark Ones to succeed in their vile scheme, shall not a greater guilt be ascribed to us?" Sador paused briefly as his eyes scanned the Ankara village. His gaze then returned once again to meet William's. "We have never had to face this terrible question before, young friend. Is it acceptable, when absolutely necessary, to cause harm in order to prevent a greater harm?" A tormented silence filled the great cavern as this burning question rang within every heart and mind. William was about to speak when he was suddenly cut short by a long trumpet blast, followed by numerous shorter tones. "The scouts," Enid announced. "They have returned." And that's the conclusion of Chapter 20. Back shortly with Chapter 21.